You know who it is. You know what I do. So without further ado, let me just get right into today's video. So I was looking up at the sky earlier and I could see it was all blacked out, stormy looking and just misty, crazy looking. So I said, let me look up this black skies that they've been talking about. I've been hearing people talk about. So I go on here and I type in Operation Black Skies. The first thing I come to is a USA Today article. You can see it's dated here August 9th, 2017. So we scroll down a little ways in this article and you can see rattling from North Korea and the specter of cyber attacks from our enemies keep us anxious. We also worry we are vulnerable to cyber attack in our homes and business, banks, hospitals, and schools. Worry should turn us to action to protect and prepare to repair, restore, and rebuild. Resiliency is not the latest buzzword, it is an absolute necessity. Then it goes on to say, a few days ago, I returned from DC where I attended an annual summit hosted by Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, Congressman Trent Franks, the Honorable Lord James Arbuthon, couple Honorable Lord Toby Harris. Those are pretty spectacular titles to give yourself, but okay, anyways. It says participants from 24 nations, including defense and security ministers and experts, scientists, engineers, non-government organizations like the Salvation Army, Red Cross, and National Governors Association. Also, there were members of the U.S. military, National Guard, officials from Homeland Security, Department of Energy, FEMA, NOAA, and experts from the utility distribution and supply sectors. Goes on to say, our work is to learn about discussion and plan for the inevitability of large-scale catastrophe, referred to as the black sky events, extreme weather, mega earthquakes, cyber terrorism, high altitude electromagnetic pulses, intentional electromagnetic interference, intentional, you see they added that in there, right? And coordinated physical assault that severely disrupts the normal functioning of our critical infrastructures in multiple regions for long periods of time. Goes on to say, it's not if but when a black sky event will occur. The time is now for each of us to do all we can to be resilient, to prevent, but also to prepare to restore and rebuild. The strength of our way of life, a result of our constitution and system of government, is our diverse civil society. I have been petitioned, visited by, and asked to speak to many organizations and associations of people who have found common purpose in the cause, profession, occupation, or industry. Then it goes on to say that on August 23rd, which was 2 days after the solar eclipse, the American eclipse, there will be an emergency all-sector response transitional hazard exercise called EarthX 2017, sponsored by the U.S. Department of Energy, FEMA, and the EIS Council. The mission of EarthX 2017 is to improve community resilience to large-scale, long-duration power outages throughout the multi-sector exercises. It's a good exercises. It says the exercise will include widespread power outages with no solution, critical decisions assessments, actions, and cross-sector coordination, with the final phase being a lessons imaged assessment and feedback. Participants will include private and government sectors, mass care NGOs, individuals and families, and hopefully you. For more information or to register, visit www.eiscouncil.org. So let's jump over to the eiscouncil.org, see what they have to say about that. So we get over to the EarthX page, and it says right there, emergency all-sector response transnational hazard exercise. But it says, today's lifeline infrastructures are interconnected and resourced on unprecedented scales, with supply chains spanning the nation and increasingly the world. With this growing integration and global reach, they have brought us remarkable capabilities at a price. Concerns have grown over the potential for severe malicious or natural black sky hazards associated with subcontinent scale long duration power outages with cascading failure of all our other increasingly independent infrastructures. This creates a grim and difficult dilemma. Restoration of any sector will only be possible with at least minimal operation of all the others. It goes on to talk about how they're going to deal with it. So just think about that. It says without one or without minimal working of others, they can't restore it. So if something like this does happen and it all goes down, essentially we're fucked. Okay, so here it says a locally facilitated come as you are exercise. EarthX offers participants a unique opportunity to examine preparedness, response, and restoration postures for severe hazard scenarios without extensive preparation for the exercise. As an out-of-the-box senior-level exercise, it also provides an opportunity to examine and rehearse critical executive and operational decisions required before a full operational exercise. So they're planning small ones before the big one. Then it goes on to say down here that so some of the highlights: decision making for disruptive scenarios. EarthX simulates a subcontinent scale long duration power outage with cascading failures of all other infrastructures. The exercise format offers but going down, this is what I wanted you to see actually right here. The exercise is designed for self-evaluation with distributed play conducted using electronic tools and local facilitation for feedback and execution. So they're actually inviting people to come partake in this, and they're talking like, it's going to be a live drill. They're actually going to do this. So then, digging a little bit deeper into it, go over here to threats to electrical power grids, and we pull up businessmag.com is the first site I came to that seemed pretty informative. So let's check out what they have to say. The societal impact of a Black Sky Day, a term used by electronic infrastructure security experts when discussing a collapse of the North American power grid, would be devastating, according to Dr. Daniel Baker, distinguished professor of planetary and space physics at the University of Colorado Boulder, testifies before two subcommittees of the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Science, Space, and Technology during a hearing on September 10th. His testimony echoed some of the same concerns R. James Woolsey, chairman of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and former director of the Central Intelligence Agency, aired before the U.S. Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs in July. During the hearing, Woolsey said that a severe electromagnetic pulse or geomagnetic disturbance event could result in the death of up to 90% of the U.S. population. Suddenly that maintain a population of 500 million on that Georgia Guidestone don't seem so far-fetched, does it? I'd say about 500 million is what they can fit in them underground bunkers they've been building for the last 8 years. It goes on to talk about the EMP is a very intense pulse of electromagnetic energy, typically caused by the detonation of a nuclear device or other high-energy explosive device. A GMD can be caused when a solar eruption produces a mass injection that travels from the sun to Earth. A direct hit by an extreme CME will cause widespread power blackouts, disabling everything that uses electricity. One powerful solar storm occurred 3 years ago, but missed the Earth by a matter of days. The occurrence of severe space weather impacting our nation's infrastructure is not a question of if, but when, Baker says. Just the fact that they've been talking about all of this since about 2015, and we've been seeing all these cell towers. As the power system is spread out across the landscape, it is inherently exposed to both natural and intentional physical damage. Morgan noted that space weather, wildfires, tornadoes, floods, earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, and ice storms all pose natural threats. Although avoiding natural disaster is impossible, he suggested that the high voltage power system could be made much more resilient. Kind of sounded familiar with what's going on in the world right now, right? Half of the world's on fire, the other half's got earthquakes and tsunamis and hurricanes and tornadoes and flooding, and part of it's getting hit with ice storms and massive amounts of snow. Like, this is all going on right now. It's time to stop calling us conspiracy theory nuts and stop calling us tin hatters and crazy people and start accepting the facts for what they are. And that is, we know something you don't, and we're trying to tell you what that is. But just in case you're still not convinced, let's see what else we dug up on this last website from the dailymail.com/UK. This is the United Kingdom's, and this is what they're talking about. Government agencies prepare for a possibility of widespread power outages across the U.S. and so-called black sky catastrophes. Now, my question is, why is this only affecting the U.S.? Everybody keeps saying black sky catastrophes in the U.S., in the U.S., in the U.S., just like the solar eclipse was only in the U.S. But if you see, I did a video where the same time the eclipse was going on, NASA was in Texas testing their new sun shield, is what they called it. It's supposed to be something that blocks the sun from interrupting a telescope so they can send it up into space. But, you know, we had an eclipse that we never saw anything in the sky, eclipsing the sun. You had to have special glasses on to even see the damn thing. And the sky never once got dark. Now, they expect people to believe that something came and blocked out the sun, but the color outside never got any darker. That's impossible. You can't block out part of a light bulb and the room not get darker. So you tell me how part of the sun got blacked out, but it didn't black out outside. At least not in my state. I understand we didn't have total totality, but we still should have seen a dimness in the sky once the eclipse started taking place, and I have 4 hours worth of footage that shows that never happened. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. You can go watch that video if you want to. My point is, this black sky shit, they're pushing this agenda in our face. They're prepping for this for a reason. And it's not so far-fetched, and it's not out of reach. And I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen on September 23rd, to be honest with you. Something going on with North Korea, they're going to do something and then say North Korea sent a nuke over here and that's why our power is out. You've seen on them websites where it said 90% of life will be affected and die because of this. Like, you better get prepared and start thinking about this. I mean, they admit it right here. Black sky events see electricity infrastructure knocked out nationwide. That in turn causes the failure of interlinked systems and infrastructure. Fuel and supplies dwindle as the country's systems grind to a halt for months. It could be caused by a small nuclear device, natural disaster, or even hackers. This month, FEMA will run an exercise named Earth X with involved agencies. Theoretical scenarios will help to create contingencies in case of the real thing. But energy and companies improving infrastructure is the solution, experts say. And that will mean bigger bills, perhaps $1 per year, perhaps more. And you can see here, this was August 10th, 2017. Let's see what else they go on to say. Okay, well, apparently they don't want to let me read no more. Yeah, it says page unresponsive. So there you have it, folks. It's time to get wise. Pay attention. Realize what's missing. It's your boy Johnny. I'm out.